Hey everyone, Dinesh here from Gibson Brands, and we're at Sweetwater Gear Fest 2022. And you just heard some lovely, soothing sounds from my special guest here, Emily Harris from Get Offset. How's it going?
It's great, Dinesh. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Thanks for joining us.
We figured it out.
We did. I'm sure you guys can hear the sea of notes and chaos behind us, but somewhere in Gear Fest, we have a little haven here of safety, right?
Yeah, it's nice in a corner, which is convenient because you're not getting things on every side.
It's a pretty straight up simple. I love the shape, super classic.
It weighs nothing. It's very lightweight.
Weighs nothing.
Very surprised by that, honestly.
Weighs nothing. Got two P90s. Yeah, super fun guitar, super lightweight, and I love the double cut thing. So yeah, it was great. Yeah. It's been kind of there's a few people that have picked it up here. So I'm surprised that it got the, it's definitely a sleeper, but I think it's in the good hands right now. And I heard some of the stuff that you were playing. Yeah. Super great vibes.
Thank you.
And I have to go into now how that's happening. So I know that your channel, tell us a little bit about what's going on with you and your channel, like what is the whole concept? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of gear demos, but I also I have a podcast. I talk about the music business, performing live, things like that. I mean, I studied music business in Nashville. Okay. And I love to bring that because there are a lot of misconceptions there. Yes. Just like there are misconceptions about gear and players. Yeah. And, I saw other people doing it, and I thought I would like to try it. Yeah. See how far I can get, and I'm at GearFest now talking to Gibson.
That's killer. Yeah. Well, how long have you had the channel?
I started, I think, the podcast in 2018 or 17, and I started doing demos in 2019, late 2019.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny you said the music business part. You're right. A lot of people don't really know that side of it.
No, and they get bad advice from people who know less.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, save your money and remember that you're going to be paying taxes.
Yes, remember that you get paid last.
Right. That's Well, I mean, it's definitely nice to hear that you're kind of giving a full, well-rounded educational, not just about the playing and the gear stuff. I think that's really smart because people want to hear that. People want to hear that.
Think so,
You've got the background in it. Mm-hmm. What would you say is like the bigger ratio of things that are on the channel? Is it more gear demos? Is it more educational?
More gear demos. Okay. I mean, that's fun, and that's my bread and butter, you know. The podcast is every week. Okay. Typically comes out on Tuesdays as an audio and video.
Oh, nice.
And so we talk about a wider range of topics there. I've done some talking head videos. I've explained the difference between your publishing and a PRO and why you need both. Right. Things like that. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, when did you decide this was going to be a thing? Because I know in the beginning it's kind of like you make some videos, you're kind of testing the waters, but how long was it, when you started that this became like a reality kind of thing for you,
Well, the first demo pretty much immediately got 5,000 views. I was like, oh, maybe I'm okay at this.
Sure.
And it's something that I've been trying to do a lot. I've done some tutorial videos before that, even for other MI brands. I'm a copywriter by trade, so I'm like, hey, music gear, that's, I think, where I should focus my attention. Yeah. And it's been great, but it was pretty quick where I'm like, I'm going to keep doing this for as long as I can until people just bully me off the internet. That's not an invitation. Also, you can try.
But hey, it happens. But yeah, I know what you mean. You gotta roll it off.
I always tell people hey, you can't say anything worse to me than I say to myself in the mirror in the morning.
There you go. And if they're commenting, at least there's
engaging.
Engaging, yeah.
It only makes me stronger.
Sure. Now, I was listening to what you were playing, and you threw some Shotgun in there.
Oh yeah, I love some Junior Walker.
Give me what were some of the influences for you that decided to get you playing the guitar?
My mom. Okay. And she had an old Epiphone acoustic. She would actually prefer I call it a vintage.
Yes.
I forget the exact model, but as soon as my hands were big enough to fit around that fretboard, I made her give me lessons.
Very cool.
And so she taught me a C, a G, and an F suspended. Yeah. And I was off to the races. I don't think she knew how much it would change my life. And if she knew, I'm not entirely sure she would have done it. But it was cool because then during the pandemic, she got back into guitar. And just seeing her get good again has been really, really neat. Like
that's awesome. In the family, man, you're right. The pandemic emerged a ton of new guitarists.
Yeah, or people who came back to it after she probably stopped playing when she was like 18.
Wow.
Yeah, and then she went back when she was like in like 58.
And you'd mentioned the strings earlier.
Oh my gosh.
We won't call the strings vintage.
No, well, the strings were definitely old. Yeah, I don't know how I survived it. And you were kind of the same way. Your first guitar was maybe not like as well taken care of.
You know, I think what we were talking about earlier was like the accessibility that the instrument is, that everyone has to the instrument now. I mean, amazing. A lot of us when we were younger, like you couldn't really get a good instrument unless you spent a ton of cash on it.
Yeah,
you know?
But you were showing me that, was it Starling? What's that?
Yeah, it's like $100, $200 package and you get the whole, package for a beginner. Like that wasn't existing before, And I told you about
and then the accessibility of lessons too. Just go on YouTube, and learn how to play whatever song you want. Yeah.
Free information.
Yeah.
I know we always had to roll the dice on like what weird music store teacher might be around the corner or whatnot. But I mean, it's one of those things where like I was talking to someone else about this, and it's like you have a Bluetooth speaker and you might have a guitar in your home nowadays. It's just it happens to be like part of our culture and society almost,
Yeah, and YouTube, you can slow those videos down 50%.
Yes.
Just watch the fingers if you
I will definitely do that with Van Halen videos, that's for sure.
But I also was really inspired by like Elvis Costello was a big one, and Prince.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean Wendy Melvoin's one of the first like women I saw playing guitar and being like a shredder. Like not a shredder, she's a fantastic, phenomenal rhythm player especially. But like you watch Purple Rain and you're like,
she's playing that intro.
She's playing that. Yeah, she's playing that. Yeah, it's amazing. So
huge impact, huge impact to the sound, and like during that time too when she was coming up and when Prince was doing his thing, that was a huge impact for just guitar players in general. Also seeing that, and they were cutting edge anyways. They were pushing it. So that's a pretty interesting mix of people and all great
eclectic.
ones.
I grew up with jazz lessons instead of like pop or whatever.
So you did take lessons?
Oh yeah, I'm more jazz trained. I would do that a lot. I went to Belmont, so I studied music, but I also took advantage of having some phenomenal teachers, and I took individualized lessons as part of my curriculum because I had a weird major. It was music business with a minor in songwriting and an emphasis in business and leadership. It was really weird.
Now, you had mentioned that you were going to be playing a gig when you fly back home.
I am.
You also mentioned that you also get hired to do playing for other people and other artists as well. What's the brain do when it's like time to play with an artist versus like, if I'm assuming you play your own stuff too?
I don't do as much of that as I would like, but right now my main band is called Sunday Crush, and we're writing, and so they hired me after their first album was in the can. Okay. So it was mixed, mastered, ready to go. Learn the songs, Emily.
You learn the songs. Okay.
So I learned the songs, but now we're going through the next LP2 process, and I'm really excited to be able to do a lot more of the composition because I've neglected that a little bit because I studied songwriting in college, so it's really fun to get back into that. But like otherwise, I don't have a huge ego when it comes to guitar and gigs. If someone tells me to play back, like don't show off too much. Right. I'm like, yeah, sure, okay, you're the boss. You're the one who's paying me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That reminds me of something that we had been talking about on this trip out here to Sweetwater. It's all about the hang.
Yeah, it really is.
It's all about the hang.
Yeah.
And you just said something that just made sense to me. It was like, when when it's time to lay back and when it's time to push it. You've learned the tunes. Yeah. And now they're like, let's come together and like collaborate on this together. You paid the dues kind of thing.
Exactly. And like I get hired to do a lot of country gigs in Seattle, which is a dream. I lived in Nashville for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Like in July and August, I'm playing 2 Women of Country Music showcases. And it's been, sometimes the lineups are really diverse. Like the first one, it's Patsy Cline, Katie Lang, and Nico Case tributes.
Killer.
Like these are very different. These are all very, very different.
Very different and
also Nico
very
Case
great
hires some killer guitar players.
Yes, yes.
Not that the session guys with Patsy weren't
No,
aces.
absolutely. Yeah. No, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, does the gear change from gig to gig?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you've probably got a nice little collection besides demoing the stuff and making videos.
Yeah.
Are you is this stuff staying with you? Or is this stuff that, I know you probably got a pretty big collection.
It's embarrassingly big. My mom sometimes asks, like, how many guitars do you have? I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, boy. It's like that.
She's like, so you don't know? I'm like, yeah. It's like that. They're laying around the house like cats.
Right.
No, the gear changes, and I still buy like a fair amount of stuff just because I want to support. But like, yeah, a lot comes to me, and it's funny when you do demos, people kind of forget because they don't always follow every single demo. But they'll notice the video came out a year ago, and they're like, well, now that you've had this for like 2 years, how you like that pedal? I'm like, I
don't have that pedal anymore.
I don't have that pedal anymore.
Yeah.
Like, no, I either sent it back,
Sure,
or I loaned it to a friend for forever.
Yeah.
So I don't tend to sell a lot.
I am definitely victim of the not holding on to stuff very long.
Yeah.
It depends, but like it is one of those things where like you go through phases, and then like I have been learning more recently, like I shouldn't have sold that. I should have kept that. Like, I wasn't using it.
I try not to sell things I can't buy again.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. When it's time to playing, and is there time for practice? Is there time to like work on stuff besides the stuff that you're working on?
I make time.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Doing what you guys do, social media, YouTube channels, influencing, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's not just 8 hours a day.
No, not at all.
And when I say full time, I don't mean just regular full time hours.
No, of course not.
So where is the balance? I mean, you're already doing it, so I can't
It's
ask.
hard.
Yeah.
And I don't always find the balance in the way that I want to. Sometimes other things kind of fall through the cracks. I have to prioritize my day job. But my day job is very flexible. I work from home. I'm a copywriter, and I write about MI stuff. So that's always fun. But, it's a 35-hour work week, which is amazing. So I get extra time during the day, in the mornings, at night. Just sit down, learn it, and then go spend time with my husband on the sofa, just like running through things.
Yeah.
With an earbud into a headphone amp or something. But like I'm just gonna, because I gotta get that muscle memory.
Yes.
Though memorization of songs costs extra. I always tell people when they hire me.
Yes.
Not a lot extra.
Well,
but,
most of the time is spent there.
Yeah, and it's one gig.
Right.
I can't memorize everything for one gig when it's like essentially 2 hours of music.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a plus if you return that you do it again, because then it's like, oh, cool, I won't mess up as bad this next time.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's kind of, we have it down already.
But sometimes it's like if I'm doing a tribute night for John Prine, we do that show once.
Right.
And maybe we do it again next year.
Sure.
And if we do it again next year, maybe some of the people who are performers will pick the same songs, and I can just go back to the well. They might pick completely different songs.
Yeah.
It's like this women in country music thing I did. I did it 2 years right before the pandemic, and some of the Patsy songs, they're the same. And I'm like, oh, I can go back to the well for Walking After Midnight. Oh, actually, this person's picking it in a different key, so I kind of have to like change how I do it a little bit. But the Katie Lang and Nico stuff is new.
Right.
And when we do like Loretta and Dolly, I'm sure some people are going to pick. Someone's going to play 9 to 5, and I kept that in my repertoire because it's awesome.
Yeah.
But someone's going to pick something completely different.
Sure.
And that's kind of the joy of it. And it keeps it exciting.
Yeah.
Because with my full-time bands, it is the same, like 20 songs that you kind of rotate through. But getting challenged, I wish I had the time to learn a song a day.
Wow.
I don't.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
It's and depending on the song too.
It depends.
Well, you mentioned 3 genres. You mentioned indie.
Yeah.
Country.
Love it.
And you mentioned some jazz.
Yeah, I mean, jazz is the stuff I play for myself. I sometimes get hired to do like chord melody arrangement things. Like I've been hired for open houses to just sit there and like play guitar or whatever.
There you go. And whisper "buy this house" just in the background.
Buy this house. Buy it. Put the offer in yesterday.
Yes, totally. What was the first electric guitar?
It was a Squire Strat.
Okay.
That was my first like budget guitar. And then I saved up so hard. I got my first nice guitar was a Gibson ES-135 with the humbuckers.
Yes.
They don't make them anymore. It had the I think it was balsa wood middle block.
Okay, yeah.
And I loved that guitar for so long. And eventually, as I got other things, like I'm trading around guitars, and I regret that. I regret letting that one go. But I was told by the shop I sold to that the person who bought it, she adores it, and it made her day when she got it. I was like, okay, all right. Well, at least it's being loved the way it should be loved.
Hey, it went to a good home. It went to a good home. No, I hear you.
Beautiful glossy finish. Like I think my profile picture for years was me at a show with that guitar, just grinning ear to ear. Yeah.
Ah, man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to a new player just starting off?
Buy a book, I guess.
Buy a book.
I learn a lot. I learn really well from high quality books that have lessons and audio, because teachers can be a bit of a crapshoot. Tabs can be a bit of a crapshoot. And I think it's the best way to learn fundamentals, because a lot of times there's literature with it. It's not just here's the tab and here's what you play. It's like, here's why you're doing that.
Right.
Here's a riff you can take and then you can move it in different keys, and here's how you remember it. So I feel like that is something that you should start with. But the other thing is, practice with intention.
Yep.
It's fun to just screw around and like play the stuff you already know, but you should be practicing on like making small changes the way like athletes talk about, like batters. We'll talk about making small adjustments to their stance to see if it helps them, like, beat, win the game. Beat the shift.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
gotcha.
if somebody has your number in baseball, they shift.
Yeah.
And they know, well, this guy always hits it to right.
Sure.
So they'll all kind of move towards right field. But if you make small adjustments, you can trick them and you can shoot it left, and nobody's going to see it coming. You're going to get a double.
Okay.
And sometimes if you're getting frustrated, like I can't play this riff, are you trying to play it the same way every time? Because
that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Try different techniques. If you mostly do flat picking, try hybrid picking, or try finger picking. And intentionally make yourself a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because you might find that what's hard at first, like when I started doing hybrid picking, I'm like, what is this? This is not going to work. And now it's all I do.
I think it's funny you said that, because when you're stuck on something, I think you're like stuck in the mode of also like hitting it every time.
Yeah.
And you're right. You may not notice that like your approach on learning a song or a part is just not working because of the approach.
Yeah.
Not because you can't do it or because like you physically or mentally are not prepared. It's just, I always look at referencing video games, like when you were a kid and you're trying to get through this one little level and you're doing like the same move. And then it's like maybe you put pause on the controller and then you walk away and like get a piece of pizza or something. Then you come back and you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's just try something totally different. And you're like, it worked.
Sometimes you got to go backwards to go forwards.
Right.
It's like, if you've ever lived in New York, sometimes you think, I got to go uptown to go downtown.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, second part of that question that I didn't phrase the way in two parts. But the second part is someone that wants to start off opening up their own channel, being a YouTuber, or, doing what you guys do. Some advice for a beginner that's trying to get into that.
Just do it. You just gotta start. Is your first
there
video going to suck? Maybe.
Right. Are you gonna have all the equipment that you need? No.
No, not at all. And you can start with an iPhone.
Right.
You can start with an iPhone and an decent interface. And an SM57.
Yeah.
Like you can get an interface for $100. You can get an SM57 this weekend for $57 apparently. I don't know. But like you can get it used for $75, and then you already have your phone.
Yeah, the phone does. Yeah. I mean, the phone, that's a game changer. Right there.
And sometimes you can get like something like an iRig to put the audio directly into your
something simple
phone anyway.
Yeah, $150, whatever. Yeah,
you don't have to spend a lot of money to start.
Right.
And I just recently graduated from using my phone for like the shot on me, because I do like a split shot where I do pedals. The one side is like my actually nice camera. I finally got a second camera.
Oh, cool.
After
you've been doing it this whole time without.
And nobody knows. Nobody noticed.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
So that's like don't get in your head. And also, people are going to say mean things, and it's just because they wish they could do it. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, everyone's going to have an opinion. They're allowed to now.
It's like what Salt and Pepper said.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you get it.
I got you. No, that's fantastic advice, and I'm glad that you were just able to give us the straight up point about it. I think in a lot of these interviews that we did here, like we just really wanted to get your guys' background on like what it takes, how much work is involved, and like everyone loves music. You guys do it for the passion of it. You're obviously very involved and you love what you do.
Yeah.
And it really comes through on the content, and I think that's why people just gravitate because, yeah, they're there for you. You know, they're there for the personality. You know.
Yeah, because they'll turn it off in 5 seconds.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, much appreciated. It's great for you to come down here, and I really want to thank you so much for just spending the time with us, playing a little bit out of the gear. It was super fun meeting you and just talking through like some of the things that like got you to where you are now.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
This is such a great setup.
Oh man, we're just happy to be here. Yeah, we're just happy to be here and make everything nice and easy for you guys. So
thank you so much. Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And we're here, Sweetwater Gear Fest. I'm Dinesh from Gibson Brands, and we got my girl here, Jenny Lewis.
What? Sure.
No, we were talking about, you were saying the Emmylou Harris thing earlier. You got the Emmylou Harris. So I had to think of a different name. Yeah.
Emmylou is, I would be honored to be mistaken.
Hey, either way, mine doesn't really rhyme with anything, or there's no other comparison, so it's fine, Yeah. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon, and good luck with everything.
Thanks so much, you too.
All right, thanks guys. Have a good one. Sweetwater Gear Fest 2022. Thanks.